So you're thinking of a move to Denver, but which suburb is right for you? Some are phenomenal, some are meh, and others, woof. Today we're gonna break down some of the best and give you the worst of what Denver has to offer. Let's go. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Kampmann, your host for Everything Denver, where we break down all things real estate all over the Denver metro area, including the best and the worst places to live. So if you're thinking of a move here, hit me up and be sure to download the free relocation guide linked in the description of this video. Absolutely free, give you some great facts and things to do around Denver when you are thinking of your move here. So we are breaking down different suburbs around Denver, giving you the best and we're giving you the worst. And we're even going to throw in a few more that are, they could go either way, 50-50 balls on those. Let's start out with the best, and for our first stop we're going to go to Centennial, Colorado. So Centennial is one of those places that's kind of the best of both worlds. You're getting great suburban living, but you're also getting some urban amenities, some close entertainment options nearby, and you're not too far from anything in the entire Denver metro area. So it's located just on the southeast corridor of Denver metro, right in this area where the Denver Tech Center is. So if you're being relocated here for work and the Denver Tech Center is where you're going to be working primarily, this can be a great option where you're getting a good value for your money and you're close to work. Some things people absolutely love about living in this community is the family-friendly atmosphere, the numerous parks and trails all nearby, and it's close to a lot of suburban amenities as well as more unique dining entertainment options. You got Topgolf here in Centennial. You also have South Suburban Parks and Rec that has an ice arena for kids to go and ice skate at. You have numerous golf courses around the area. Also, Centennial does have its own private airport. So if you fly private, right down the street, easy access to that as well. Now, because it has become so popular, home values have risen in this area. Median home price for a single family home is going to be right around $700,000. There is value in the $600,000 range in some of the older parts of Centennial. Homes were built in the 50s and 60s, a lot of those bungalows and ranch style homes. But then we also have some newer parts of Centennial as you move further east, where you're going to get into more of that traditional suburban feel. Tree-lined streets, sidewalks, parks within the neighborhoods, and all those things that new construction has started to offer. Now, Centennial is pretty well built out, so you're not going to find very many brand new construction developments around. Those are going to be a little bit further to the east and to the south in places like Southeast Aurora or the Parker area. What, if any, cons are there to Centennial? Well, it's not the most walkable of any of the suburbs, and to be honest, most suburbs are not really walkable. This particular one does not have a main street or a downtown historic district like the areas of Littleton, Castle Rock, and Parker, but you are fairly easy commuting to anything around. We do have a few spots that are great that people love to gather and hang around at. Off Arapahoe Road and I-25, there's several restaurants. There's also entertainment options, arcades, bowling alleys, and local bars and restaurants that make it a trendy place to live. So Centennial definitely earns a spot in one of the best Denver suburbs. Next, we're going to take a trip up to the northwest corner of Denver, and this is the town of Arvada. Now, I mentioned that Centennial is not as walkable. You are going to get that benefit here in the Arvada area. It does have kind of a charming and unique style downtown that's very walkable, has local cafes and bars and restaurants, and is a favorite of a lot of families and young professionals. So as you move a little bit further to the west side of Arvada, you do have more of that suburban feel. And like I said, tree-lined streets, pretty good schools in this area, and a lot of parks and recreation. As you move a little bit further to the east, closer to Denver and that old town Arvada, you are going to find a little bit edgier style of the downtown art district. Walkability, it also improves in this area, and it definitely is a favorite of a lot of young professionals that want kind of a blend of suburban living and urban living. So you're very close to downtown, but you're also close to I-70 to get up to the mountains for your skiing, snowboarding, or other mountain adventures. So downsides to Arvada, and this is a little bit unique to certain pockets of Arvada. They do fall within a floodplain, which can make home prices more expensive just because the insurance cost is going to be significantly higher than if you're in one of the areas that is not in a floodplain. And that's why it's important to work with a professional when you are thinking of your move here. The other challenge that Arvada has is if you are commuting on I-70, that can be hectic at times. I-70 can definitely get bottlenecked if you're headed up to the mountains on a weekend, or if you're commuting in and out of Denver during those peak rush hour times. It can definitely add a lot of extra time in your car commuting back and forth. So median home price in Arvada is right around $600,000. You are getting pretty good value for your money in this this area. You're going to get a larger home than you would find in some of the more historic neighborhoods of Denver. You're still going to have areas of Arvada that are going to give you that same historic vibe and uniqueness that you may be looking for, but you don't want to pay for or deal with some of the things on the interior of Denver. So it's a favorite of young professionals in that respect that are looking for a little bit more character without having to break the budget. Next on our list, we're going to move south to one of the neighbors of Centennial, and that is Littleton. Now, you've heard me talk a lot about Littleton on this channel. It's one of my favorite places, and a lot of my clients also highlight it as one of their favorite places when they're searching for a home when they move here. And the reason for that is Littleton has a lot of what Colorado has to offer right out your back door. So you are close to the foothills. You're kind of set further to the west end. You're on the south end of town, which makes it easy to commute up into Denver, whether you're taking Santa Fe, which is one of our kind of side highways, to I-25. You don't have to take I-25. It's not the only way up into Denver, but it's easy commutability up into the Denver metro area. Also, being on that west end, you're a quick commute up to I-70 to get up into the mountains, and you're getting a larger home with a little bit more space from your neighbors in this area compared to the other suburbs of Denver. So Littleton is a pretty large area, and you get a little bit of everything when you select this as one of your neighborhoods. You're going to have Old Town historic Littleton that has charming Main Street and downtown with your local mom and pop shops, local breweries, and historic bars and restaurants. And then if you move a little bit further to the west, you're going to find a little bit newer homes with a little bit more space in between them, homes that were built in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And then if you move even further to the south in the neighborhood of Sterling Ranch, you're going to find brand new construction with large scale homes, low maintenance lots. So there's really something for everybody when you make a move and you select Littleton as the primary place you're looking for. So the biggest draws for Littleton are the highly rated schools in this area, the family-friendly atmosphere, and it does have still a community vibe. You'll find a lot of that a little bit more tied into the older historic town of Littleton, where you're in that main street and the areas that are surrounding that. You have farmers markets, parades, different things that the city puts on for the residents there. And then as you move further out, you definitely have a lot of outdoor living opportunities around you. So there's going to be miles of trails. You have Chatfield State Reservoir down here for summer camping trips or fishing, or even your water sports like water skiing and wakeboarding. There's just a lot going on in this suburb. Now, as a result, home prices are going to vary. If you're in that historic area of Littleton, you're looking $600,000 plus. If you move a little bit further to the west, it's going to be a little bit more affordable. You will find homes that are larger or $600,000, and you may even find some that are just below that price point in certain pockets that are in that $550,000 to $575,000 range. And then as you move even further to the south in that new development, you are going to find a lot of the homes starting at $700,000, and that range in Sterling Ranch is really $700,000 to $1 million plus. Now, downsides of Littleton, it's not going to have as much nightlife as, say, a Centennial or maybe even an Arvada. It is more of a quiet neighborhood, suburb, bedroom community. So if you're looking for a little bit slower and quieter pace of life, Littleton is going to be a better option. If you're looking for a little bit faster pace and more things to do and a little bit edgier vibe of a town, maybe the Old Town Arvada would be the best. And rounding out our top suburbs around Denver, I had to throw Golden in here. Now, Golden is a favorite of a lot of people. It's located just into the foothills on the west end of Denver, so it has a really unique vibe to it. It is, kind of historic, Old West style charm to the town. It also has its own Main Street kind of downtown area that's very unique and a favorite of a lot of people making day trips around Colorado. And that kind of is one of the downsides. It gets a little bit touristy in the summer. You have Clear Creek that runs like right through town. So in the summer, a lot of people go up there to inner tube or raft down the river. It's filled with tons of breweries. It has obviously the largest one in the state. Coors Brewing Company is headquartered here. So brewery tours are a very popular thing to do for a lot of people that are making visits to Colorado or just looking for something to do on a day trip. But you're going to have like all of Colorado's outdoor living right in your backyard. I mentioned the Clear Creek River that runs right through the middle of town. You also have dozens of hiking trails. You're surrounded basically by 360-degree views of the flat top mountains or Flatiron style, and you're very, very close to that mountain style living. Even though it's not technically a mountain town, you're more of a foothills, just entry level into the mountains. It's going to have the feel of Old West charming mountain town. And home prices up here have risen quite a bit. It's a very popular area. You're looking 700 plus. 700 is kind of the entry level to get in, and most of the homes are going to range from 900 to 1.1 million. But you're really paying for those views, the location, and as a side benefit, it's probably only about 20-25 minutes into the Denver area. But if you also work in Boulder, it's only a 20-25 minute commute up to the Boulder area as well. Maybe 30-35 depending on traffic. But it's a very beautiful, serene place to live. Okay, now we're gonna move into our mid-tier neighborhoods. I call this could be a 50-50 ball. If you find the right neighborhood, this is phenomenal. It could earn a spot in the top list. But if you don't know where to look and you end up in the wrong neighborhood, this could end up on some of the worst places to live. And starting off this list with the mid-tier is Lakewood. Now Lakewood, it really does depend on the neighborhood. Lakewood is a suburb just directly to the west of Denver, so it is very close for commutability. It actually neighbors Denver, so you may be a 2-minute commute into Denver, you may be a 15-30 minute commute into Denver if you're on the far west side or south side of Lakewood. It is a massive suburb, and as a result, it's got a real mixed bag of schools and neighborhood rankings around here. Some of the neighborhoods might not have as high a safety rankings, and some of the neighborhoods might not have as high of a school rankings, which I know is important for a lot of people relocating out here. So you really need to know where to look. Some of the schools in the area not rated quite as high, being part of the Jefferson County School District, but some of the neighborhoods are very safe, very affluent, and very nice and great neighborhoods to move into. One of those in particular, Solterra on the southwest end, is one of the newer neighborhoods. There's not a whole lot of new construction happening in the Lakewood area. It is pretty well built out, but it could be really 50-50 if you're not knowing where to look. So Lakewood definitely has its positives, but a lot of negatives as well on neighborhoods that are kind of dilapidated, not keeping up with the times, and might not have the highest safety rankings. Our second area, and I hesitated to put this in mid because I do really like this town, is the town of Thornton. Thornton is really exploding with growth, and it's becoming one of the more popular suburbs of people moving to Denver for its affordability. You can find a lot of developments, especially on the north end of Thornton, that are going to be beautiful homes and more affordably priced than what you would find in, say, Littleton or Centennial. But the reason it gets into the mid-tier category is it does have a lot of areas kind of on the south or older end of Thornton that are not quite as desirable. This area as well can have a mixed bag when it comes to school rankings. And another two cons of it is it kind of lacks some of the character that a lot of the other suburbs that I had mentioned have. The historic charm of Littleton, kind of the edgy downtown feel of Arvada, or the beautiful outdoor spaces of Golden. Thornton really doesn't have the identity and character of a lot of those other neighborhoods. If that's not important to you, then it really doesn't matter that much anyway, but it is a very clean and new suburb on the north end, but you just have to know where to look to find the value. Now, median home price in Thornton is sitting right around $500,000, and you can get some of the newer construction for right around that price point, which is nice. It's hard to find new construction close to the Denver metro area within that price point. Now, commuting into Denver can be challenging. This I-25 stretch from the north end of Thornton into the interior of downtown Denver regularly backs up during rush hour especially, but even during other times of the day when you don't think it's going to be peak time for a lot of people commuting, noon, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can see significant backups here. And our third on the mid-tier category is the city of Aurora. Now you may be thinking Aurora belongs in the bottom tier. It's got so much negative press, it has so many bad things happening there, all the negative news that surrounds Aurora. But Aurora is a very, very large city. It's really second and kind of almost teeters on having a larger population than Denver itself. And the reason I put it in the mid-tier is it does have a lot of very great neighborhoods if you know where to look. On this southwest end that butts up to the town of Centennial and the town of Parker, you can find beautiful neighborhoods, very highly rated schools, and really, really nice suburban living. Neighborhoods like South Shore and Blackstone, Talon's Reach in the southeast Aurora, you can get a huge value for your money here. You can find homes in this area priced $50,000 to $100,000 less than what you might pay in a town like Castle Pines or Lone Tree, just because of the name Aurora. Now, Aurora is not without its challenges. It definitely has been in the news a lot for safety concerns and things happening in some of the neighborhoods of Aurora, and all of that is true. So you definitely need to know where to look and which areas are going to get the most value for your money and be the best investment for you going forward. And finally, we get to the bottom of the barrel. Now, I throw these in here, and this is subjective, and I apologize if you live in these areas. It's not meant to be personal. This is just what I see from 1,000-foot view of these communities. The first one on the list I'm going to put in here is Commerce City. Now, Commerce City is revitalizing and growing in the positive direction. Now, out towards the north end of Commerce City, where you're butting up to the airport, Denver International, they do have a lot of new communities that are very nice, very clean, and are kind of being revitalized. But Commerce City historically has been a very industrial town, a lot of refineries, energy and power plants, weird odors coming from those refineries and power plants, and it hasn't always been the best place to live and has not had good appreciation in property values historically. Let's just say if Robert F. Kennedy was walking through here, he probably wouldn't approve this on an environmental scale. You will find that homes are quite a bit cheaper in this area. A lot of the homes in older parts of Commerce City are $400,000 or less, which is fairly rare to find anywhere in the Denver metro area, but that does come at a higher cost with the safety rankings that Commerce City does have. Now, I mentioned some of the other areas that are a little bit further to the north and the east that are new developments. These are very clean, very nice, and neighborhoods that I would walk into and feel completely safe in. However, the property taxes up here are just so high that I don't know that you're getting the value for your money when you pay for those higher property taxes. You're paying for all the infrastructure to go in, the sewer lines, the cable, the internet lines, and all of those things, and they are significantly higher than a lot of other areas around the Denver metro area. So that's another reason I'd put it lower in the what you're paying and the value that you're getting category. The other suburb I would lump into this category is Northglenn. And Northglenn is a very small kind of pocket suburb in that Thornton, Denver area where Denver kind of ends, Thornton begins, and Northglenn is kind of right here in the middle of it. It's kind of encapsulated by Thornton and doesn't really have an identity of any to speak of. Home prices in this area are more affordable. They're $450 to $475 for a single family home. And while it's kind of nice being a little bit closer to the Denver metro area and you might cut down on some of that commute were you to be in Thornton, some of the neighbors here are in deteriorating states. And it really hasn't been revitalized like a lot of little pockets around the Denver area or some of the other suburbs around. So I hate to say it, but it's kind of being overlooked. And the neighbor of Thornton, Federal Heights, would be the last one I put in this negative category. Federal Heights is a small suburb kind of tied to Northglenn and Thornton and has some of the lowest property values in and around the state for the Denver metro area, and you can probably figure out why. A lot of Federal Heights is mobile home parks and storage facilities and things like that, so it doesn't get a high ranking on any of the websites as positive feedback from residents who live there. So there you have it, guys. Some of the best places to live, some of the mid places to live, and some places that you might want to think twice about before you make your move here. And if you are thinking of your move here, make sure you hit me up. Call, text, email. I got your back on all things Denver real estate. I would love to help you on your relocation here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and download that free relocation guide in the description below. Hopefully that you find that valuable, and I would love to talk to you soon on your move to Denver.